So let's get into entrepreneurship a little bit. We already have, but going into it now to focus on that a little bit. What would you say, out of all the reasons in the world? Now, I've read your book. You have the 10, all these keys to success, etc. What would you say is the number one reason why people fail? Not necessarily why they make it. The complete opposite.
Right. Lack of brains, lack of effort.
Lack of brains, lack of effort.
Yeah, they don't do the work. They don't learn. When you walk in the room, when you start a business and you start to talk about somebody, you're never in a vacuum with no competition. Unless you're just extremely lucky. And if there's going to be competition, that means somebody else knows your business as well as you do when you get started. And if you walk into a competitive environment and they still know more about the business than you do and more about your customers, you're going to lose. But most people don't consider that. They don't do the work. They don't learn more about their industry. They don't know even about their business. And so you've got to put in the effort to know more about your industry than anybody else. And that's the brains part, and that's the effort part as well. Because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing, otherwise I'm gonna kick your ass, and you're not gonna outwork me. And so, the combination is usually what kills businesses early on more than anything.
Do you think so? Now, there's a part that people say, Mark made it because Mark is a special guy and he became an entrepreneur. This guy made it, all these guys made it because they have this special gene or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a proven formula that if a brand rookie guy, he's got a lot of ambition, he's got a lot of desire, but not a lot of knowledge and how to. Do you think if he follows a formula, he's guaranteed to make it as an entrepreneur?
No.
Okay, so you don't believe there's a guarantee to make it?
No, because who knows who you're going to be competing with. So if you put two people both following the same formula, both in the same industry, right, which one wins? Maybe they both can win and both be successful, but so I don't think there's a default template for success, but I think there's things that you can do to put yourself in the best position to succeed. So I talk about stuff in the book. I talk about the one thing in business you can control is effort. Mm-hmm. Going out there and sales, curing all. So I think and I agree with your point that there are things that if you do them, you put yourself in the best position to succeed, but if you just walk into a buzzsaw and somebody else is doing them a little bit better, it happens.
Now, are you saying to compete at your level, there's no way?
Or just any level, right? Just any level.
So even if you put a formula for me, I followed it. Will I eventually be able to make $250,000 a year if I follow the plan that you put? I'm not talking about 100 million.
Yeah, but you got to pick where too, right?
Right.
So I was
industry-wise,
right?
maybe?
Yeah, I was at a business plan competition, and they were talking about making big money reselling travel plans and making $3 in affiliate commissions, right? It's just not going to happen. You have to be smart. You have to be smart. You can pick the wrong things, and you're talking, alluding to it earlier about entrepreneurs being born or built, and I think I knew I was wired to be excited about business. How or why, I don't know, but and there's certain guys that have the genetics to jump out of the gym, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. There's certain guys, that when they golf, they have the muscle memory and the discipline. Dirk Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in the NBA, but his discipline and his focus to do what's necessary to be successful, he's willing to do, and combine it with being 7 feet tall and being skilled, it makes him an amazing basketball player. So it's understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it. Will that make you $250,000? It depends if you pick the right industry. But whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance. Because if you don't do it and somebody else does, I have the saying, work like someone's trying to take it all away from you.
Mm-hmm.
I actually work like someone's spending 24 hours, working 24 hours to take it all away from you. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the way I look at it.
When you were younger, was your father into business? Was your mother? Was there an uncle, somebody that did well in business that you admire? Was there somebody you read about that you said, I like Rockefeller, I like Carnegie? Nothing. So it's just purely you that you had business?
Yeah, my dad, I think, my dad did upholstery on cars. My mom did whatever odd jobs. But my dad was always like, if you want something, you have to earn it. And to his credit, he never said, no, you can't do that. So whether it was selling garbage bags, baseball cards, stamps, whatever it was, he never held me back. And so I think that was as important as anything. And sometimes being young and trying things, you're so naive and you don't know any better. All you do is learn. And if you fail, it doesn't matter. And so whether I was 9, 10, 12, 16, 21, the failures were irrelevant. And whether you're 9, 12, 16, 21, 22, 24, I'm sleeping on the couch, I have a car with a hole in the floorboard, You know, I'm living like a bum and like a student. And so what did I have to lose? And so I think that influenced me as much as anything. So, it was, you know, my dad was like, go for it. You know, why not? What have you got to lose? You know, you have to sleep on a different couch. So I think that was motivation as much as anything.
So you had the encouragement from
Yeah,
fathers
for sure.
and support, go do it.
Yeah, go do it.
So do you think, like, let's just say if we put 10 guys here, you interview them, okay? You could, within a 5-10 minute interview, say, this dude's not going to make it as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, I can typically tell, right? I can tell but by their passion, I can tell by their focus, I can tell by their preparation. You know, there's a whole realm of things in any business. Here, you know, here's the business you're in, and here's 1,000 things that influence whether or not you're going to be successful. And really, to me, by, you know, through my experience in businesses, I can put myself in his position and say, okay, here are 900 of the 1,000 things he has to be aware of, and then go through and ask. And by how many of those or her issues they've been able to address already, that kind of gives me a sense of how hard they're willing to work. You know, and I can tell by the questions they ask me. So all I have to do is say, okay, what do you want to know? And, you know, when they start saying, what should I do?
They ask you.
Yeah, you know, and that's fine, right? And I want them to ask questions, but, you know, people like to say, you know, the only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask, and that's not right, right? Because the questions you ask tell whoever more about you than anything else you do. Because in particular, it tells me about your preparation. If you ask me questions about just basic things that you should have known and you should have down to a science, that's going to disqualify you almost more than anything.
So, Mark, you're now, you know, whatever your net worth is, billions of dollars. You own a sports team, you have businesses, you're on Shark Tank, you're on TV shows. Everybody wants your time. How hard is it for you now? This is the thing I think about, because for my side, I run a business. It's harder for me to make friends now and let people in my circle, but I'm not at your level. How is it when a person like you, is it still easy to make friends now?
Yeah,
is
but
it
I'm
more
not out there, you know, at this
or-
point, I'm not out there looking, you know, I don't need any new running buddies. I mean, my high school buddies are still my friends, my college buddies,
Got
my
it.
rugby buddies. The guys when I first came to Dallas that were my friends then are my friends now. You know, I've got 3 kids, you know, so it's more, you know, my family just takes up so much of my time along with business. So I'm not, you know, and even back in the day when I was single, I was still successful. I could tell the gold diggers from the real friends. I mean, you know, it was pretty easy.
Got it. Did association play a big role with you or not really?
Nah,
Not
no,
really for you?
Yeah.
Because you were so determined, it didn't matter. Nobody could influence you, influence other people.
Yeah, I just went and did my thing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Couple words I'll just put out there. I want to see what you think about it, because I watch you and I watch some of these other guys and I see a sense of paranoia. And I don't know if you read the book, Only the Paranoid Survive.
Yeah,
I don't know
but
if
I'm
it's
familiar with
10,
it.
20 years. Great book that was written. Do you think there needs to be a healthy level of paranoia?
Oh, absolutely.
There needs to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I always say, you know, for every one of my businesses, I said, what would I do to kick my own ass? You right? So whatever business you have, there's somebody trying to put you out of business. There's somebody trying to take a bite out of your business. And it's better for you to figure out how they're going to do it rather than they do it. And so, yeah, that's being paranoid. And so you have to be paranoid. You have to anticipate other people's next moves, and you can't ever, you know, downplay the competition. You know, I was telling, I was at a business plan competition this morning at a college, and they were kind of being dismissive of the competition. And so you can't ever do that. You know, they're out there trying to take you down, and they're not just going to sit still. And if you're good, really, really good, you're going to inspire them to work even harder, faster, better. And so you have to be, you know, very self-aware of what you're good at and what other people are good at. And, you know, a healthy dose of paranoia makes a big difference, is very helpful.